So would you please welcome Graham Dowling as Gospel and Truth Magic.
Isn't it? Beautiful place. Great place for adventures. Exciting things. Mystical things almost. You hear so many stories in the forest. I've certainly been on a few adventures myself. I've seen a few things. And it's funny. The stories get more and more bizarre and magical the deeper you get into the forest. I was once far into the forest, and I met a village full of people who hadn't seen very much of the outside world. They told me some incredible stories. They told me a story that I couldn't quite believe, but somehow they convinced me it was true. They told me that they could actually see their own hearts. They could see them, and they could wear them. And in fact, they all had different stories about their hearts. Some had two, had been given one by somebody else. Some had had their hearts taken away. But wherever I went, everybody had a story about their heart. And it was quite amazing to see how many of them really cared about their hearts. In fact, they had a competition to see who could have the most beautiful heart. And everyone brought their story out, everyone told their story, until one man, a young man, very strong, virile, came up and said, "I believe I have the most beautiful heart." And it was very big and very perfect. But actually, he was almost immediately challenged. In fact, one of the elders came out and said, "You know what? You think you've got a beautiful heart, but I have the most beautiful heart." And he went to his hut and he brought out his incredible, huge heart. Now, it wasn't the prettiest. It was a bit ragged, it was burnt, it had holes in it. Some bits had been torn out, others had been put back in, but it didn't look like they fit. And the young man said, "How can you say that you have the most beautiful heart? Look at mine." The elder said, "Yours is still young. I have lived. All the way through my life, I have loved, I have given pieces of my heart to other people. Sometimes they gave them back, sometimes they didn't, and left me in a hole. But after you have lived all of these years, you will have a beautiful heart just like mine. You don't keep it all to yourself." And the young man agreed. He did have the most beautiful heart. In fact, he decided there and then to take a piece of his heart and give it to the old man. And the old man took a piece and gave it to the young man and said, "One day, you too will have a beautiful heart." The stories that we hear and we tell each other really do form the basis of our lives. In fact, they're there from the very beginning to the very end. The stories that we tell as children to each other, those experiences, adventures we have, all the way through our lives, right to the end, where we have those memories of those long summers, times on your bike, etc. They form the basis of our life. But unfortunately, there are some experiences which are not so pleasant. In fact, you might call them traumatic. And they can be quite forming as well. In fact, they can become the basis of our lives if we don't do anything about them. We try to cover them up. We try to do things that make them seem a lot less. But actually, all we're doing is making a mess of things and time monotony. But that isn't the end of the story. Because if we do that, we have a tendency to take that story with us all the way through our lives. And we look back and we wonder why we never did anything about it. That is something that I want to tell you you don't have to do. You don't have to take that hurt with you. In fact, you can do something incredible at any point in your life. You can seek forgiveness. And you can seek forgiveness for anything. And from the people that hurt you or from yourself. Because if you take that forgiveness and you bring it to the present day, you don't need to worry about it. You can continue. I want to leave you with a story. One of the main reasons I'm here actually is because my grandfather loved adventures. In fact, the only thing he loved more than adventures was his pet hobby, which was butterflies. He used to take his bag and his section kit and his notepad and pen, pencil, his magnifying glass. Oh yeah, and he had his little specimen case. Thankfully, this one's empty. But he would have all this with him when he was looking for butterflies in the forest. But the most amazing thing he gave me, which is what I want to show you today, is these cards. They were quite incredible. They were drawings, etchings of caterpillars. And he would tell me when he was showing me these beautiful drawings about the story of a caterpillar and what actually happens when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. I don't know how much you know about that, but it's an incredible process. The caterpillar will eat more than double its body weight and then spontaneously turn into a cocoon. And inside that cocoon, he will actually turn into a butterfly. He will dissolve his body and grow a new body. So when the cocoon opens, he has turned into a beautiful butterfly. Now, I have heard another story about caterpillars that I will share with you, and it's not so positive. There was a young boy who saw a cocoon and a butterfly coming out of that cocoon. And unfortunately, he decided to open it, take a knife and split it open. And I don't know if you know about this, but if you do that, you actually stop the butterfly becoming a butterfly. It needs the struggle, the push out of the cocoon to push the liquid out of its abdomen into its wings to become a butterfly. So, unfortunately, when he opened the cocoon, he didn't find a butterfly. He found something else. It wasn't a butterfly. It was a walking caterpillar with wings. So, let me leave you with this message. That actually, we don't want to avoid the struggles and the trauma of our lives. We want to embrace it. It's the struggle that makes us who we are. So push forward. Whatever you're doing, whatever situation in life, you could be a butterfly. Don't hold back. Don't go the easy way. Because actually, if we all do this, we'll become butterflies. Thank you very much for